right now.
Okay, anything? You're good.
All right, nice. All right, cool. Well, I guess we could probably just jump right into this one because I know we had a couple zero click topic from Google perspective, and then I don't know, maybe we'll chat about a podcast here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um, let me share my screen here, and Steve, maybe you can explain the hat selection right now.
Oh, well, I saw Rush last week. I think it was last week, maybe the week before, up in LA, and they were awesome. They have a new drummer. She's like I don't know, some girl from Germany, and she did
Nice,
amazing. So, I mean, that's kind of
dude.
what
I
Rush
love
is.
merch.
Yeah. So, in the merch, dude, yeah, it was
Love
amazing
merch.
show. Did not a fan of going up to LA, but it was amazing. Especially with, dude, I couldn't even imagine the World Cup up there right now. They're
Oh
playing
my
up at
god.
SoFi, and that area is just kind of a clusterfuck.
And then there's a bunch of games in MetLife in North Jersey, which is like right next to New York City. So Knicks
Yeah.
win, they got the parade, they had finals games there, they got the World Cup going on there. Like that place is probably North Jersey
Yeah,
and New York City. Like you're not moving traffic wise there
Boston's
right now.
Boston. They got stuff going there too,
Yeah,
and so does Seattle. It's been a really good World Cup so far.
for sure.
Yeah, it's been fun. But anyways, let's talk about internet nerd stuff.
Yeah, I thought this one was pretty interesting, and shout out to Rand Fishkin. And I think this one really came from the Spark Toro full report. But we're going to shout out our boy Barry Schwartz that we pretty much always do on this pod on Roundtable here. But basically, Rand at Spark Toro, they usually do like some of these like co analysis with like SimilarWeb, and then they also do one with I forget what the other data company that they partner with a lot, but basically they and Rand posts about this on LinkedIn often of like just all the zero click trend on search of people literally going to Google and immediately finding an answer, not actually like clicking through.
Yeah,
They did this analysis here that just kind of shows like from 2016 all the way to 2026 percentage of searches with zero clicks, and it went from 45% in 2016 all the way up to almost 70% in like this past year here, and I
dude,
thought
I think
this was
we
pretty
covered
cool.
this on the pod back in 2024. Believe it or
Yeah,
not, which is kind of funny. So to see this evolve, that percentage, what was it? 39.55 to basically 32%. So what, 40 to 32? So it's like 8% points difference
yep.
in 2 years.
It's crazy. I think that was the point. Was like just the actual percentage increase as of late is just significant from what it usually has been in past years. I thought this is pretty neat too of the breakdown of like what actually happens after search. Basically, 32% click, 39% are going to do nothing, and then that last 29% there's going to be another search, of which 68% of those,
Yeah, it goes back to 32. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just pretty much repeats. And I thought this was really interesting. A couple of like the actual clicks, 6% to a paid ad, that seemed pretty low to me. And it's tough to say like within AI mode, YouTube, Maps, like how many of those are actually ads. I'm assuming there's a good amount of like local service ads in there, like YouTube ads or whatever in that pack as well. Thought that was
Yeah.
pretty low, that stood out. Um, but it makes total sense. I know we talked about this before, but like that AI overview oftentimes just answers somebody's query like right away, and like there's no need to actually click. I also want to tee up something else, Steve, that I was like reading in the comments of this because I'm like, you know what? I'm curious like what other people are thinking and what they said. Somebody linked this that I also thought I saw on Twitter or heard, but basically German ruling holds Google liable for AI overview results. And I think there's been a couple cases about this. But I don't know. I think this was fascinating just to call out because essentially that zero click is obviously impacted by that AI overviews. And like, how is Google going to handle the actual results? And like, how does this impact other, LLMs if they're going to be liable for the results? That's really interesting.
Yeah, I know they tried to, I think this popped up with knowledge graphs, which used to show up before AI overviews. Are they liable for that?
Yep.
I think you can make a stronger case the AI overviews they're going to have to be more liable than the knowledge graphs because knowledge graphs are just kind of taking what was from a web page and putting it there, where the AI overviews are actually putting a unique spin on the information that's coming through.
So that knowledge graph is basically like copy and paste from somebody's site.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where AI overviews is a little different, where it's actually putting input into it and making its own assessment with the data that it has on hand. So yeah, do they need to be liable for it? Well, I mean, sure, but here's the thing: like, I mean, the European countries are always so more strict or try to be strict with data or rulings that it's not going to happen though. It's not because there was another one that I posted. Uh, was it the UK the CMA the Competition and Market Authority in the UK has told Google it must be transparent on how it ranks search results in Google, and it must enable users to support its data to other third-party services. I'm not really cared about the second part, but the first part about, hey, you need to tell us how you do your rankings, they're
Yeah.
not
Like,
going to do
there's
it.
no
Dude.
way.
I'm sorry, it's their secret sauce. They're just going to say pound sand and go through legal actions and
I think
loopholes.
that is a good call because I know there's like right now in Google Ads you have to like select, are you going to do like political ads in Europe, which I know they're either banned or like there's much more restrictions in the United States, but I know Europe handles cookie policy much
Oh, dude,
differently.
it's locked down for
It's
sure.
way different.
Like
So
literally, the
could you?
U.S. is like the wild, wild west. Sure, there are some things that we need to have in place from a cookie policy standpoint if you don't want a lawsuit, for sure. Uh, but compared to where it's in the GDPR or over in Europe,
Yeah,
dude, it's
yeah,
a whole different ballgame.
it's way
And
tougher.
Germany is notoriously known to have like they don't want any sort of tracking. They're very strict on things.
So,
We have a couple of clients that are in that space, and they won't even put analytics on their website.
oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
at least
Could you
GA.
could you see a world where the AI overviews is regulated or they're held liable in Europe and not the United States, and they just handle
No,
it differently based off location? You think it would just be like a broad thing?
I don't think so because they don't change the search results really for that. Maybe on the paid policy side, obviously there are some certain things, but people are paying for that. On the organic side, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you, but I also can actually see their argument in this one. Like, I would definitely be much more for like, like less regulation in general. But I could totally see that if you're going to generate a result, like in a sense,
Oh,
you're
I
like the
agree that it
publisher
should
there.
be. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. It's not a bad thing. I just don't think it's going to happen.
it's
Um,
different than like social companies, where like that's always been the case. Like, would you hold somebody? Do you hold Twitter or Facebook liable for a post that somebody makes? Like, no, because they're not actually the ones publishing the actual content themselves.
yeah,
They're like like the distributor or whatever. But in this case, Google and an LLM, like they are producing content. Like that is, in a sense, their company publishing that.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think it's something they should be liable for that comes across. But I don't think it's going to matter in the United States. They're not. We're too distracted by so many other things. It's going to be the last thing that someone's going to really take. I mean, you just can't fight Google. It's too big. It's like way too big. It's like the government.
That's so true. Especially after the ruling that they just won in the United States, like where they didn't have to break up, basically. Like,
Yeah,
maybe even a
that
little different
part.
game they did.
Yeah, for sure.
But
So I don't know where it's going to go with that.
where do you think it's going to go with this whole search space? Meaning, clearly the trend's less and less clicks from Google, like obviously, and that's probably going to continue. They'll probably continue to have more AI results and just less clicks through. Where do you think that goes?
Well,
Like from like a paid search perspective, organic search perspective, and just like generating leads from search engines and LLMs. Like, where do you think that whole trend continues?
yeah. So I mean, on the organic side, specifically, I mean, mostly on Google, but even on ChatGPT, like it relies heavily on their search index. Like they go out in the web, they crawl the index, and they put it
On Google's
on
index, you're
Google
saying?
site. Yeah, on
Yeah,
Google
yeah,
site, and
yeah.
that's like how everything is done. So it's like if you're going to show up in the AI overviews, you need to show up in the Google index, right?
You
So
need to
it's
have
like,
SEO fundamentals.
yeah, no, 100%. And so that's what's going to happen. Now, do they actually drive to a click after an AI overview? No, that's going to change. Like the days of like ranking for a specific keyword and seeing that exponentially grow in traffic to your website is gone.
Yeah,
Like
like
it
increasing
really
like
is.
your rankings, improving those, and getting
Yeah,
more
yeah,
traffic.
like
Seeing
reporting on ranking reports for clients these days, it's actually really difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like getting and showing progress. Like, great, I moved from, let's say, 20th to 10th, which is not going to show that much, but let's say you move like in like SEMrush or any of the ranking report tools, like 10 to 4. Back in the day, you see from a 10 to 4, your X traffic for that specific keyword on that landing page goes up dramatically,
Yeah,
you
you're getting
know,
way more clicks there for
and you're
sure.
seeing that traffic increase. You're seeing that conversion revenue come through. But what's happening now, especially you just brought up the zero click item stuff, is that people aren't necessarily clicking on your organic results. It's getting in the AI overview, but they're still getting to your brand though. That is my point, is that they might not click on that organic listing, but they will come back around to your brand in a way where it's like direct traffic. They come in directly um, into the website itself. Like, they will still find, so there's still benefits of trying to move from, position 10 to 4, because you're going to be up in the AI overviews. The traffic is just not going to be there, but you will still get interest in your business and visitors to your website, most likely through direct channels or not set because they couldn't figure out where it came from. It'll still happen on your site. I see it on our site all the time. Like,
So
it's
basically,
truly
it's more
there.
of like a visibility, brand awareness play. Like get in that inventory there.
Yeah, 100%. Get into that
Yeah.
inventory. And that just makes the traffic, and like, once again, it's like that clean attribution window of like, organic, you invested this amount of dollars in organic. In your analytics, you see this amount of visits and revenue from organic. Calculate your ROI. That's not the case anymore because they're coming in different channels. So with all of our client reporting, we do put in referral AI traffic sources so we can kind of see some of that generalities, because what we expect to see is that you're going to get more traffic from LLMs or AI and direct as organic flatlines or goes down a little bit.
Yeah.
you know
What do you what do you
that's
think
really hard to
about?
track.
Oh, for sure. And I have like I feel like that's what you're gonna say to this question. But what do you? I guess how do you approach or like think about like like you're producing good content for a client. Like that's part of like your SEO strategies. Like, hey, we have content that we want to build. We have some blogs. We have updates to solution pages, whatever. With the thought of obviously you want more like brand visibility. You want to get an AI overviews and get cited a little bit more. In that example, say like like your blog pages are actually getting like a ton of like AI overview impressions, and like maybe your solution pages after your updates getting more visibility, and that's influencing people coming directly to the site and filling out forms or purchasing product. What that's just say like form fills. You're talking to the client about building these pages. Obviously, if it's working, you're getting more form fills just in general, but like to tie back, hey, like our efforts from those blog pages or updates, if you're not then seeing people come in through those pages to get that credit, like how do you kind of speak to that? You get what I'm at? You
Yeah,
see
yeah,
where
yeah.
I'm coming
No,
from
I
there?
get where you're coming, but I think there's needs to be a distinction in there where what is good content,
For
and
sure.
what actually drives conversions. And I just highlight on blog content. I'm sorry, but even now, I'm not sold that you need to be doing a bunch of fucking um, blog content for your client websites, because typically that's super top funnel, right? 10x reasons for this or that, and it's already been written about before, guaranteed. And so, let's say it's already written before, so it's really hard to rank. But let's say, fuck it, you do rank for it in Google AI overviews because you rank high organically for something super top funnel. That traffic that's coming in, it's looky loo traffic, and it's probably not targeted to what your actual services are, and it's not going to drive conversions. So throw blog traffic out there. I don't think you need to be doing it. I really don't. From an organic perspective, like, who cares if you ranked for, um, you know, let's say you sell shoes and it's some sort of like shoe trend or something of 2026 or something like that. So what, you rank there? It's not mean people are going to go buy from your website. You just happen to like be cited because you wrote something. I doubt it's the same shit that's been going on for years on the blog side.
So then say you're like B2B lead gen or shoes example.
That's
What content are you
so
then
that it's more on the lower funnel, like transactional type keywords. So like B2B, build out industry pages, right? Like, what industries do you serve? Have unique content around that. Maybe case studies that you have around those specific industries. So people are knowing like, hey, you do this for this industry, great. And that will come in. It's the same approach from an SEO perspective. Like, build out more of those services based or industry based pages that make sense for you. and because that's going to drive more transactional revenue. But going back to your point of like, how do you attribute that? Let's say you build out services pages. You're going to see different types of people coming in and inquiring based on the niche or industry that you just put on your website, right? That's the way you're going to justify it. It's like, oh, wow, we just got X amount of leads in this industry all of a sudden. That's one way you could set
Clearly,
up the
there's a
correlation.
change.
There's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
change in the tide
yeah.
here. You'll still be able to see some traffic to that page organically. You'll still see some impressions to that page organically. So there's ways that you can track around it, but also like service offerings. Like, I know we had a mutual client that only has like 3 pages right now, and they're a local service-based commercial company, but it's like you theoretically could build out 60 pages
Yeah, I saw
on their
like that
site.
was the mapping stuff that you put
Right,
together.
it's
Is
a
like,
lot, and you
yeah,
got to take it out bite once, a small bite at a time to get it done completely. But that's how you're going to do it. But it's not like I'm asking to go write blog posts about, some super top funnel thing. Like it's not going to convert.
so then what do you do? So I feel like a big piece of SEO historically has been blogs, like in like
It's
a
just been
retainer.
bullshit. That's all. That's all it is. It's
But
something.
it's something that you could produce each month to show like, hey, we're doing something. You know what I
No,
mean?
100%, man. It is. And there's a value. Some people still see value because, hey, maybe they do rank for it. Maybe they could use it on social. And, hey, well, let's just make sure that's SEO optimized, etc. And that's fine. But it is tangibly an item that is given to a client each month and shows something that's being done.
Yeah,
You could do
exactly.
that with link building as well, but some people don't like to report links, etc. Explain that whole concept for it all. Um, and so it's literally like an agency play of deliverability on items itself. I'd rather be delivering new pages on the site that are more service based, industry based, which is a little bit more difficult to do um, for that. And I even go back on this whole like blog content stuff. Like, Trevor, would you ever bid on these long questions that people are asking about that have nothing to do about like actually purchasing the product? Like, would
No,
you do it?
I
Like the best
completely
way to
agree.
wash your Converse, something rather. Like, how do you? Would you ever do that? Like, would you ever do that on a paid perspective?
No, no,
No,
no.
you wouldn't pay for that traffic. You could buy it, but why wouldn't you do that?
I mean, you're probably not going to generate, a sale, and it's like you're going to be
That's
spending some dollars, even if you do get the click, but
that's
you're
my
not going to see
point.
the return there. Yeah.
That's my
I
whole
guess my
point.
whole like I love it. I completely agree with you, and I think that makes a total sense, especially with the whole zero click landscape and stuff. I guess like couldn't you get to a point where like like you have like an industrial kind of client here, and they have some like industrial services. You build out your service pages. You build out a couple case studies if that's what you're going to do. Like, don't you get to a point where it's like you don't yet necessarily need content?
No,
Is
one
it
hundred
like just
percent. No, yeah, you don't.
refresh it?
Like,
You
hey,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't need that at that point. Like, you really don't. Like, hey, let it sit, let it cook. What else could you be doing? Increase the authority and visibility of your brand online, be it link building or third party citations. Like, that's the other thing that you can do.
and that's the I'm more so thinking of this from like the agency like retainer perspective there. So that's
Yeah,
what like
so
ongoing link building,
yeah, that's
local
traditionally
citations, shit like that. Yeah,
yeah, that's traditionally what has been
yeah,
sold and delivered, and it does work in that
that
sense
makes
where
total
it's like, hey,
sense, and I feel like that's a
we're not.
way better use of time than blogging.
Oh yeah, it's more effective for sure. I'd go toe to toe with a client that says all things equal. You're going to go do blogging for a client. I'm going to go do some, link building. Let's see what wins. I'm
I
pretty sure the link
completely
building
agree.
is going to work. But I mean, but going back to answering the second part of your question, because I answered the organic side, but what's going to happen on the paid side? I still think paid is, especially search, still has that kind of like 1-to-1 attribution. Someone searches and then converts. Google has pretty good attribution windows on there that you could see what's going on. So as long as that 6% of users, whatever it is, 6% of clicks still shows positive ROI, it's always going to be around.
Plus, to my point, there's that whole other chunk in there of like YouTube maps and all these other things where like there's all paid placements in there. That's probably some
There's paid
paid
placements in there
traffic.
too.
And to your point, Steve, as well about like the return out of 100% of those click or 100% of those searches, how many of those searches are actually people looking to purchase right now or like get in contact with the business?
Right.
Probably pretty slim percentage. You know what I mean? Where that 6% does seem low, but Google knows when somebody's ready to purchase and when somebody's ready to fill out a form for the most part.
Yeah,
Where
so maybe that's
before,
the one thing the study doesn't show is like what's the intent.
what's the intent?
Yeah, so maybe if they did a study on the type of intent of the search, what does that breakdown distribution change? Right. I feel like transactional keywords, like a transactional intent, it's going to drive more clicks organically and paid. You
Yeah,
know,
agreed.
typically,
And
or
it's going to be a pretty slim percentage there in general,
yeah, dude. And how many times do you fucking Google something just randomly in general? It's like,
all the time.
and it's like, well, I'm just looking for like how to do an Excel formula or something. If I
Yeah.
didn't use AI, you know.
Plus, too, I think to your point about the like the service based stuff and case study stuff for like more transactional bottom of funnel stuff, I feel like the same way on paid. Like that's going to be, you might see even less traffic from paid at a certain point, which I'm sure is currently happening. Um, but I think similar deal, like those AI overviews, AI mode, whatever, they're always going to have paid, you know,
Yeah, they like we've talked about before. They got to give us that display report though of like when that's happening. So
which
if it's an
I'm sure they will.
they.
I'm sure it's going to come eventually here.
I'd hope so, man. I really, really do. I mean, they're gonna have some stuff in Google Search Console with like impressions on pages when AI overviews, but it doesn't tell you like keywords.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely in finally, and it's maybe it's not exciting, but I guess things have changed, so it makes it exciting. We're like things are finally changing, you know, where it was pretty static for 15 years of the same kind of
It's
formula.
kind of true.
So
Like
it's
I
like
definitely
even
think
like
there's
reporting to clients, right? It's like it's more challenging now to show a whole holistic. Like if you're in charge of multiple different service lines, you're probably giving a more holistic executive summary of what's going on. It's really difficult to put all the pieces together and say this is exactly what's happening. But as long as you're open and having those conversations with clients are entertained by it and they find value in it. But it's difficult to really nail it all down. Like what's moving the needle on a business. It's more difficult now than ever.
and I think I haven't really thought through this fully. I'm just kind of thinking through it now, but I think the world that you kind of described of like we're going to optimize towards like industry bottom of funnel intent and like case studies of like, hey, we've done this before in this industry. Here's proof of this. I almost feel like that is much more of like straight to the point and like I don't know, but more like this is what we do. And it's not like schemy blog, top of funnel. We're going to get people in. We're going to rank for these best of 2005 and like the trendy stuff and like the blog content almost kind of seems like a little bit more fluffy. You know what I mean? Whereas like the world that you're describing of like case studies and like service solution pages is much more um, like honest and upfront and like right to the point. Like, hey, we're not trying to like scheme you through some like blog and then get you in a drip and then do that. Nothing wrong. I'm not hating on that, but I almost feel like now comparing the two that we've lived through it for a little bit, I kind of like the AI approach a little bit better. And I'm surprised I'm even saying that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were sold that it's like, hey, if you did a blog post and then maybe they'll sign up for your newsletter and then you could drip email them and set them up on a remarketing campaign and get their branding on there. And then eventually they're going to come back and search your brand. Man, show me when that's ever really happened,
I
especially
know.
nowadays. And the search queries, theoretically, I think I saw a study today. It was some conference in Milan, I think Google was putting on. I want to say like 15% of searches done every day are like brand new. And I don't know if this leads to my point that I'm trying to get to is that I feel like users are becoming more sophisticated in their searches, especially on Google, especially with AI overviews, that they're drilling down pretty deeply into what they're looking for. This is a B2B
Exactly.
space. Like, hey, I'm looking for a website design company that specifically works with medtech space that has specifically worked with X devices. And it's like, dude, if you have a case study on your website that talks about that, there's pretty good chance that you're going to get mentioned because it's very specific. And yeah, not a lot of search volume, but it's like you're going to get cited and referenced and probably get that visit and that phone call.
That's a pretty cool example there. Cause in a point about um, like people getting more sophisticated with their searches and just putting way more context. Because I don't know, maybe like 5, 10 years ago, that person would have just searched like website agencies.
Yeah, they
I
might have
mean,
said like
their whole
MedTech
history.
website agency or something like that. Let me look at my
Yeah, and that
Search
whole
Console
research
report
journey
real
was like
quick
so much
and
longer.
pull out some long tail queries that we get. Let me see. If
And while you're
we,
pulling that up, you also just made me think of the whole, like blog and email drip and retargeting and to this, that, and the third.
yeah,
Like that funnel is so dead, and it's so interesting to hear agencies still pitch the funnel, and like this is top
yeah,
of
it's
funnel. Now they're
no,
in the mid funnel stage. Then
there's
we got
not
to
a
push it like it's. I haven't. I don't know. I feel like that's been dead for like years now, but it truly is.
yeah, dude. If I'm in my Google Search Console, I don't really want to share the data, but I'll just kind of talk about it. If you go to Google Search Console, just like look at the last 3 months and then sort your impressions by like the least amount first, you start to get really long queries, like a lot. And some of these things, like we do have some investor relations stuff on our website. So like here's like one search query that was done. Uh, Best SaaS platforms for investor relations website with stock quote and SEC filing integrations. Okay, long. Best investor relations website solution for public companies managing frequent disclosures. Right, so a little bit more use of a use case studies. Here's something a little bit more local. San Diego web designers with expertise in integrating Blackbaud or Kindful. I don't even know what that is. So you can kind of see how they're getting even more and more specific. And Google Search Console doesn't do a great job on giving you the exact sample data. Dude, I have another one that this is crazy. I've seen this before come across, and I think these are, I'm not sure where they're coming from, but they're interesting. So this is literally what was in my Google Search Console as the query. I am a 35-44, 45-54 or comma or 55-64-year-old vice president. My job seniority is at the top, is at the VP or director level. My main motivations: increase pipeline via website. My main points: website is not converting or easy to update. Campaigns are slowed by the site. What plugins and functionality from WordPress doesn't exist in Webflow? That's one query someone put in.
That's insane. And you guys
Did they
rank
put
for
it
that?
in or did well, we got an impression, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
For it, it's because that was actually a blog post about Webflow versus WordPress, which it's like that person's probably not going to convert with us. Kind of shows my point. We put it out there, but it's like I think some of those prompting of age and things, I think it's building a profile based on like some embedded information about your account. That's the
Yeah,
other possible thing. So these queries are getting longer. You've just noticed
dude,
it.
that's
Like,
crazy.
um, it's like your search term reports are getting pretty long. Like, and I wonder even in your search term reports and the paid side, because especially if you're in broad match, you theoretically pop for some of these. Are they giving you those super long search queries? I don't think so. I
No,
think that's the missing parts. You
you
know,
get
they're all,
some, like you definitely get some for sure. And I feel like I've noticed because I look at search terms reports like all the time. I feel like I've noticed just in my observation a little bit of like an uptick in like longer tail, but I've also talked to Google reps where they said they'll like that example might have shown in a search term report as like, like WordPress first Webflow. And that they would have just dropped it down to that. And they say they're just giving you the themes. So
yeah,
like,
it's the themes.
you
I
know what I
think this is
mean?
going to
There
happen
could
with
have
Google
been,
Search Console. They're just going to give us themes.
yeah, it's not going to be the actual specific
They
query.
shouldn't be giving these data. It's a little, like they say, too personalized. Like here's another one. This is one query. We are medical. This is actually kind of what I was talking about. We are a medical device company looking for a creative agency that understands regulated industries. We need a new website, redesign, branding, and some video content. Who would you recommend?
That's amazing. That's like such a good example right there.
So it's like, okay, you got to make sure you have a medical device page. But then when you're talking about on your page, we do talk about, hey, we understand about working in regulated industries. We talk about, the redesign process. We talk about doing some branding on our site. Video content we don't really talk about, but it's a nice to have. So like some of those elements are things or zones that we talk about on the page. And so it kind of
That's
gets
so
pulled all
cool.
together. So like I'd like to put more like specific case studies on our niche pages because that's going to help in these kind of queries if people are searching for certain things. But we'll see. I mean, I still get a lot of queries in Google Search Console that are like 3 or 4 terms, like that would you think. And people are still searching that way. But, as time evolves, to your question, you're saying, I think it might get more sophisticated. as they're kind of like, because I think the AI overviews are going to give them something pretty sophisticated, so they understand like, oh, I can put something pretty sophisticated or detail in my prompt,
No doubt.
right? Because they don't understand like Google's changing to being Ask Google versus Search Google, and it's like developing a prompt. Like most people don't know, like you can really give them a lot of information and get back very specific resources. So maybe that will change. That behavior over time will change. So I think maybe it would affect paid ads because on the search terms and themes, maybe broad match is the only way that's going to happen, and you're just going to have to. I don't know, man. It's going to get weird.
They're going to push you to broad match and AI max, and you have to do it. Yeah, I think we're
And
definitely
then
going
you're
to
not
get
even going to get the data back, So it's like it goes back to things that we've talked about before. Is like, dude, conversion tracking super important, and we're talking like bottom of the funnel tracking, like the form
yeah,
fills. Like, do not like sure track your telephone click, track your CTA clicks, track your PDF downloads, track your email clicks, but like your contact forms, like your main one, bro, like that's the only thing your account should ever be optimizing for,
yeah,
and
and
that
even
goes
then,
back
probably further to like an MQL or
if
something
you
like
can
that.
get there, if you can
Yeah,
get there with volume. That's
yeah.
why I feel like e-commerce is easier than it's ever been because it's like we talked about before. I think it was even the last part. It's just revenue dollars. That's all it's
It's like, hey, we
optimizing
know
for,
this exact person purchased.
and
We
that signal of
know.
like purchased,
Yeah,
like versus a form fill. And bots do a lot of form fills, but bots can't buy. You know,
yeah. Like you're not
so
going to get to like a closed one instantaneously after that form fill, like you are with like purchase. You know what I mean? Like, I completely agree with the e-commerce point, dude. I feel like this was like an absolute 101 of like how to think about organic search in this whole AI overview zero click error. That honestly might be a title that I gotta work through that one, but I think that's like basically I don't know. I feel like this put this into like really good perspective here of like how to think about it and how to approach it.
yeah, I'd agree. I mean, things are changing. Still, a lot of the fundamentals are the same. I think it's just how we talk about it is changing. How we report on it is a little bit different because the interface has changed of how users are searching. So, yeah,
Dude, I think we call it there. Unless there's any
yeah,
other
no,
topics you
that's
wanna
fine. A little
cover. I
quick
feel like
one
this was like a
works for me.
shorter, but like stayed on a consistent theme throughout the whole thing. And dude, I feel like I like really learned of how to speak to this in a more concise way.
Yeah, there you go.
That's sick. All right, we'll call it there.
All right.
All right, folks.